If you couldn't tell before, topics like this really grind my gears. Because this type of sentiment can only lead you in one direction. And it's a direction that so many people have reached and gotten their desire. Because think about it really, right? This is a reality that entraps you in your own personal prison. That's why it's so fucked up. You literally, you make the decisions to trap yourself in the most comfortable way possible, right? So that once it's time to collect, you're not aware. This reality comes to collect, if you didn't know that, right? It's a fucking loan shark. We live in a fucking loan shark's belly. And somehow the loan shark still finds us in its belly. I really can't take anybody seriously who thinks that human extinction is somehow like this. What makes you any different to any of these apocalyptic evangelicals? Literally, what makes you different? Seriously. Because what they're also this is literally what the fuck they're advocating for. That's why they're waiting so fucking hard for their fucking Messiah. What they want is human extinction itself, right? Even if you look at the end result of their apocalyptic beliefs, everyone is going to be just like them for eternity. And they won't be able to die, right? And they will never be able to leave either. If it were possible to be kicked out of heaven, then what the fuck are you even believing for right now, right? It wouldn't make sense. And in effect, they are waiting to live in this supernatural world where the rules no longer apply, as they do in this reality, in a sense. What they're waiting for is the extinguishing of humanity. Humanity itself is a sin in the Bible, right? That's how they get around justifying why the fuck an omniscient God would put a fucking immortality tree. No, there was the tree of life, and then there was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Why then, if he's so omniscient, did he want... He left the serpent, which isn't Satan, by the way. It wouldn't even make sense for the serpent to be Satan, right? Because then that means the devil is a literal fucking snake, right? That used to walk but doesn't walk anymore. But if that was the case, how the fuck would the devil be able to get into heaven during the story of Job and talk directly to God if he was condemned to slither on his belly for all eternity or whatever, right? Besides the point, he pointed red fucking signs at the one thing he supposedly didn't want them to do, and left a devious, conniving snake to tempt them into doing it. If he actually wanted to, like... And here's the crazy thing about that, right? There was the tree of life. And if they ate from the tree of life, they would be immortal, which means they were not immortal. Which means eating the fruit didn't make them any less susceptible to death. Otherwise, why the fuck would you even have a tree of life to begin with? Right? God was just bored and wanted a fucking challenge, and I honestly believe human beings rose to that challenge. Heck, if the story of how language developed was him paranoid about humans reaching to heaven, so he confused all our languages, and even in that, we now speak fucking English all over the world, right? Great fucking job, right? The Tower of Babel itself was like a fucking hill, like a tiny ass climbable hill compared to what humans have been able to build now. Even gone to space, right? Whereas the confusion, like you would think that going to space itself would okay, maybe you don't believe space travel is possible, maybe you believe the moon landing, whatever, right? Satellites are still in space, right? That is a form of human beings making use of space, right? You would think he'd have fucking burnt us to death by now, but nothing. That's why this hatred of humanity has been this hatred of humanity itself, right? That has been so inculcated into this belief, these apocalyptic beliefs. Because by the end of it, you'll all be carbon copies, you'll all be immortal, and you'll never be able to leave. You'll never be able to literally you will not be able to die at all. I personally think humanity, like to be a human is to die, right? To be a human is to die. And I'm so fucking glad that human beings can die, right? Because imagine the situation that we're under right now is just the descendants of these fucking ghouls. These are what the descendants are doing. Now, what if it was them themselves who are able to survive like fucking 300, 400, 500 years, right? Imagine. And this is why when people who are prescribed so like who prescribe to subscribe to antinatalism supposedly also somehow believe that human extinction is something to strive towards. You're no fucking different from a rapture believing evangelical. You are no different. In fact, you're worse because you probably look down on them as well, right? You're worse than them, and yet you believe the exact same shit they do. But they're wrong for doing it, but you're right for doing it, right? Which means you're just waiting for the right person to come along to give you an offer you can't refuse. What you're saying and how you're conveying yourself is you want to be in a cult. You're looking for a cult leader. That's what the fuck you're doing. That's what you're doing every time you you essentialize this toxicity to humanity, right? If psychologists themselves have said that psychopaths and narcissists and sociopaths are a fraction of the population, and yet they're still able to do this much damage, they're able to deceive you into thinking that every single fucking human being is like this. We have that nature within us, yes. We also have the nature to be good to one another, right? Why the fuck does it have to be all evil? And this is fucking me. I'm literally cynical. I've been cynical since I was a child, right? And I'm saying this to you. I'm only cynical in that people have the ability to do all these things, but they purposely look for obstacles or put obstacles in front of themselves to not be able to do so. That's what makes me cynical. But we have the capacity for it. You're just looking for your next. You're looking for Jonestown, right? You're on your like. Every time I see a comment like this from now on, I'm just going to tell you Jonestown is 30 miles away. Just keep walking. Just keep walking ahead, honestly. Right? I mean, honestly, to really think about it, people who say this kind of thing cannot be mad that they cannot be appalled that something like Jonestown was able to happen, right? Because this is literally the definition of what they want as an end result. A mass suicide cult. And if you see people dropping one by one, they just put a gun to the back of your head and tell you drink the fucking Kool-Aid. But except they're the ones holding the gun saying drink the fucking Kool-Aid. This is insane, bro. This is so insane. More than 900 people died in one location. That one location. And at least 300 of them weren't even above the age of 18. Tell me, how the fuck are you actually are you not waiting for Jonestown, right? Are you not waiting for Jonestown to be extrapolated to the rest of the fucking world? And how exactly did this reduce the amount of misery in the world? You know? Or human suffering? Okay, yeah, fine, I guess they're not buying any more like products from like Chinese sweatshops, I guess. Which is actually pretty bullshit because the population has exploded since Jonestown happened, right? More so, these 900 people created 900 fucking coffins. Do you see what I'm trying to say? I don't know if it's just, I don't know if it's like effortless. I don't know if it's like just psychopaths. I don't know what it is, right? It's fetishizing death and like suicide and mass murder. These are the three things I see people who ascribe to this kind of belief engage in: fetishizing of death, suicide, and mass murder. Right? Those three things. And it's not even fetishizing like suicide should not even be a fucking fetish. The reason why suicide exists is because people have no other way to end their pain in this place, right? The sad thing is they have probably they have probably ended their pain. But if this reality is really as evil as we believe it to be, do you think it's that easy for their consciousness to just vanish? Energy doesn't work that way. I'm sorry to say it. Energy really doesn't work that way, right? I personally would also advocate for voluntary medical euthanasia, right? I don't advocate for people to fucking jump in front of trains or to hang themselves in their fucking rooms to be discovered by one of their loved ones. I would love if everywhere you go in a hospital, if you just said, you know, you wanna, you're done here, you can sign some documents. Maybe like it's sort of like basically like applying for a driver's license or a passport, but then you're just applying to fucking quit this fucking reality, right? I'm not advocate, and I'm glad that so many people who talk about this also say they don't advocate for suicide. I personally don't think that it, it's like a it's like an anesthetic. It's like anesthetic to your fucking spirit. That's what it does. But it doesn't last very long. Not in this reality, right? Not in this reality. I'm sure if you could actually talk to the undead, they'd probably tell you that. But I get so fucking livid. I get like I'm literally every time I see a supposed antinatalist talking about, oh, yeah, like just implode the world or just fucking I don't know, just like holy fucking shit, man. I'm just gonna be like, yeah. So okay, so which exact cult is it? Which exact cult leader is it that you decried so hard for? Because that's the only way a place this level of thinking is going to get to you. Maybe they're in a cult already. They're just trying to now fucking drag people who are already antinatalist into it, right? And this is why I will constantly only, like, not only, but I will always stay focused on exploitation. It is something that you can demonstrate in front of your eyes to everyone at pretty much any given time. We've just become so accustomed and desensitized to it. But it's all around us all the time. It's demonstrable, it's provable, right? And in very small ways, we can, like, if everyone decided every day to stop doing something exploitative, everyone on the planet, every day, I'm telling you, within a very fucking short time, you would see a massive difference in life. Massive difference in this reality, right? People are always thinking like, they're always thinking the worst of of a proposed solution. It's always the fucking worst, and it's not even in the sense of like damage control or liability in the long term. No, it's just like it's like it's like you say, why don't we go for a drive, or why don't we go get some ice cream or something, and then somebody else says, so but what happens if you pop all the fucking tires and I don't know, the car explodes or something like that, you know? It's catastrophic thinking. That's why people resort to catastrophic thinking incredibly easily, which lets you know just how invested they are in the fucking misery of this place. If it's that easy for you to fucking imagine the worst possible outcome, just for you to justify continuing to broadcast your misery and bitterness, right? To keep validating your own shitty fucking opinions. I'm sorry, that's not something I can't vibe with that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If there's anyone who has really drunk the fucking Kool-Aid, it's people with this ideation for human extinction. It's them, right? You literally would have fucking, you would have been the one holding the gun to people who noticed that other people were fucking frothing at the mouth and falling and convulsing at Jonestown. You'd have been the fucking one to hold the gun behind their head and tell them to drink. You wouldn't even be the one drinking. That's the fucked up thing, right? It would have been you. And you can't sit here and pretend to me like you have any sort of viable solutions to what we're trying to solve. It's one thing if you want to wallow in self-pity, right? I think there should be space for that. I think people should be able to wallow. I do. I think people should be able to fucking lament their conditions. I do. I also believe they should be able, in one way or another, to solve it. If they can't solve it, somebody else who can help them solve it should be able to help them do it. All right? There are people in such miserable circumstances right now. And if we all changed our habits in a very minute ways, possibly, they wouldn't have to go through the shit that they have to go through. But that's too much for so many people. And I've really noticed that. Right? People really know. This is the problem with such edgy ideologies like black pill or nihilism or even antinatalism. To be honest, it's slightly edgy. Come on, it's edgy, bro. Like but I'm fine with it being edgy. Because you just attract some of the fucking most idiotic and ghoulish thinking people who also think that they're above the people that they want to exterminate. Imagine that. Imagine that. I don't consider antinatalism to be, and here's the thing, like, I really hope antinatalism does not become a widespread movement, but rather you can use existing avenues, but present them from an antinatalist understanding, right? You don't even have to mention that you are an antinatalist, but in the way you operate, in the way you engage with the world, having that in mind, having that kind of philosophy and way of being in mind, you don't even have to make it a fucking political, like every political movement that could have gone somewhere has easily been monetized, corporatized, fucking consumerized, all the shit, all of it, right? Disappears right in front of your eyes. Right in front of your eyes. This is why I hate ideology so much and ideologues and figureheads, right? This is why I don't even fucking show my face in my videos, because like I'm sexy and dashing, yes, but at the same time, it really distracts you from the message. Like every time you see, hopefully from now on, if you're listening to this and you see somebody posting this kind of cringe again, just ask them. So which cult is it? You know, is it Heaven's Gate, Jonestown, fucking? What was the one for David Koresh? Fuck, I can't even remember. Oh yeah, the branch Davidians, something like that. Yeah, you know, which is your fucking cult of choice? Which is it? Because you must already be part of one, and if you're not part of one, the way you're talking like this, you must be looking for one, right? Oh man, I think I've fumed enough for the day though. Hopefully, till of course I see some other dumb shit that makes me have to fume again.